A national call for prayer, peace, and democracy in the Bahamas on the eve of Election Day. Parliamentary officials on Grand Bahamas say all systems are go for Election Day. Political parties rallying their troops as the final mass rallies are held tonight.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news tomorrow is Decision Day 2017. And as the electorate prepares to head to the polls tomorrow in the general election, there is an appeal going out to the nation to protect this country's democratic process and rich political heritage. Joan Davis Roll reports.
As a new chapter in this country's political history is about to be written, there's a clarion call going out to the nation for prayer, peace, and safety to prevail on Election Day. In a message to the nation issued via social media, leading international acclaimed clergyman Bishop Neil Ellis is calling on Bahamians everywhere to remember those on whose shoulders we stand, along with the blood, sweat, and tears that have been shed for Bahamians to have the privilege to vote.
In this 2017 general election process, close to 200 candidates have been nominated for national leadership. A little more than 180,000 eligible voters have the privilege to decide who they feel is best suited to represent them in the sacred halls of Parliament over the next 5 years. This is indeed encouraging, and it's a reminder that democracy continues to be alive and well in the Bahamas.
As thousands of Bahamians head to the polls on Wednesday, Bishop Ellis reminds the nation that the world is watching.
In this political season, I urge you to resist participating in gutter politics or divisive political tactics. That is not who we are as a people. Believe it or not, my friends. In the midst of this process, the world is marking the manner of our bearing. Feel free to rally and canvass support for the candidate of your choice, and then, for God's sake, vote. But understand, come May 11th, we would have, as a people, elected a government to serve the Bahamian people for the next 5 years. It's a decision that will possibly impact the next generation of Bahamians.
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Well, as you've heard, in just a matter of hours, Bahamians around the country will head to the polls to cast ballots in what is described as the most crucial election in the history of the Bahamas, as eligible voters anticipate the opening of the polling stations on Wednesday morning. Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner Reno Smith gives the assurance that the polls on Grand Bahama will open at 8 a.m. sharp.
As a result of us being at the police headquarters on Sunday, preparing the ballot boxes, we can assure all that the polling stations will open promptly at 8 a.m. The returning officers, some of them will be those who are all the way in West End and those all the way in East End, Grand Bahama, will receive their boxes at 5 a.m. Those who are in the city of Freeport will receive them at 6 a.m. So there is no need for anyone to panic to say the polls might not open. I can assure you, and I speak confidently to this.
Now, the Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner says the department is working to ensure that Wednesday's election process is as smooth as possible for all citizens.
We've asked the returning officers and their their presiding officers to please assist us in allowing all persons who are physically challenged, pregnant, the elderly, not to stand in line. we are here because the elderly build this country for us. And so we want to give them the courtesy. If you see an elderly person, a physically challenged, a pregnant lady, blind, whatever, please allow them to go ahead of the line so that we can get them out and home quickly before anyone faints or there's some medical emergency.
Now, Smith says a computer technician will be assigned to each polling center to assist voters who show up at the wrong polling division. Once again, the polls open at 8 a.m. tomorrow and they will close at 6 p.m. Meantime, members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be out in full force this election day as public safety is said to be paramount. During a press conference held late this afternoon at police headquarters, the officer in charge of Grand Bahama and the Northern Bahamas, Assistant Commissioner of Police Emerick Seymour, made this announcement.
We'll be deploying in Grand Bahama particularly, and I can tell you the same thing is happening force-wide, where under the direction of the Commissioner of Police himself, was oversight of the general elections. I am deputizing for him in the Northern Bahamas. I'm assisted by 2 assistant commissioners. We have already made all of our policing plans. We've already had a briefing and debriefing of our officers, and I can tell you that all of the polling divisions tomorrow, all of the polling divisions in the 7 constituencies across Grand Bahama and Abaco will be adequately and appropriately policed to ensure that law and order is kept and maintained before, during, and after the electoral process.
Now, the senior officer is also sending this warning to residents and also owners of liquor establishments.
Emotions are running high as far as we can observe as an organization, and I want to caution those persons. If you're coming out to election tomorrow, if you're coming out to vote, I'm asking you please to come in an orderly fashion, to conduct yourself appropriately, to conduct yourself in accordance with the law, because we are looking out for any act of criminality wherever it may happen or wherever we see it. The officers have been briefed, the officers have been charged with responsibility to ensure that law and order is kept and maintained. And so we're asking those persons, come, mark your X, and of course go about your business as usual, and of course wait for the results. Be watching out for those liquor license premises that are operating that should not be, because the law states quite clearly, any liquor license premises that are open and operating on that particular day, election day, will be doing so without a license. So it means that all liquor license premises should be closed to.
So with that, there's more news right after this.